Jalen J-Dub Williams, an undercover gem that just came out of last year's draft. He's a rookie this year, of course, and probably the second most talented guy in this rookie class behind Paolo Banchero. His skill set is unique, while his body and makeup, it's special, something that you can't teach. He's one of those guys that he won't really be discussed on First Take or Undisputed until it's too late, and we all know who he is. He's already gonna be one of those guys that won't really be heard of too much because he's in one of the NBA's smallest markets in OKC. Thankfully, everyone that is here watching this video now, you guys are all hoop purists, including myself. And if you didn't really know who he is, trust me, I got you. But before we hop into the video, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and drop a subscribe. And if you're not new, drop a like and comment below what you think about J-Dub, because he's about to be a perennial talent these next couple years. Jalen Williams, or J-Dub. He's played 3 seasons at Santa Clara College, and he was and still is a 6'5" guard that really has the length to be a wing. He wasn't heard of too much, but during the draft process, his stock exploded. He was looked at as a player who was just outside the lottery with heaps of potential ahead of him, and he proved the Thunder right pretty fast when in the preseason he averaged 14 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, and almost 2 steals nightly. Look, the Thunder are a young team, and being a young team, we already know that rotation is pretty crowded because it's full of guys trying to find their way. There's a plethora of talent for the Thunder at the guard position, with Giddey and SGA already being there as a start. When you have J-Dub enter the mix, it starts to become even more thicker of competition in the guard position. Now, obviously, SGA and Giddey, they start in front of him, but in terms of the bench guys, he's quickly gotten to the point where he was the 6th man, and then by December of this year, he's been in the starting lineup periodically, and it's starting to become more regular. Jalen Williams has not only improved from game to game, but this improvement, it's been reflected each month. If you look at his counting stats starting in November, it'll show this real improvement that he's had this year. In November, he started out averaging nearly 11 points per game with 2 assists and 0.5 steals on 51% field goal shooting. In December, he scored 12 points per game on 2 assists and 0.6 steals with a 50% field goal percentage. January, he averaged 13 points, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a 51% field goal percentage. February, almost 15 points, 4 assists, 2.2 steals on 50% shooting. And in his last 10 games, he has averaged 19 points, almost 5 assists, 2 steals on 58% field goal shooting. J-Dub is starting to get a lot of buzz behind being the Rookie of the Year so far. We all know the other guy is Paolo Banchero, which most of us assumed was his award to lose, especially after his record-breaking start. J-Dub's versatility has not only allowed OKC to start him, but he's also been able to start in the front court as opposed to the back court. He yields a 7'2" wingspan at the 6'9" frame, and again, this can quickly have him in the ranks as one of the better defending guards in the league. As I said before, he started out the year averaging a little under 1 steal a game, but once you get to January, he hasn't had trouble getting at least 2 steals per game, and that probably goes to show his wingspan, it helps a lot. Now, besides his wingspan helping him on the defensive end, but when you watch him on the offensive end, he can rise up and get a quick dunk that you didn't really expect he could get. And it's not that he's some crazy leaper or anything like that. It's just his arms are extremely long and he can rise up on you very, very quick. He's a crafty scorer that can get to the basket or even pull up for a midi if you give him too much room. And you can't really sleep on his 3-point shooting, as he's boosted that percentage month to month since the season started as well. Again, in December, he averaged 29% from 3. December, he averaged 31.6%. January, 32.5%, and in February, he averaged 37.5% from 3. And in his last 10 games, though this is an anomaly and nobody can really keep up this statistical performance in terms of percentages, his last 10 games, he's been 50% from 3. Again, like I said, his last 10 games, they're an anomaly. I'm not going to act like that's something that's normal or that's something that you can hang your hat on, because nobody can hang their hat on a 50% shooting from 3, unless maybe you're shooting 2 threes a game, but 1 for 2, you're not really moving the pendulum too much. However, his true shooting percentage of 59.6%, it leads all rookies who aren't centers, and his most recent 10-game stretch screams out superstar potential. What makes it even more sweeter for OKC fans is the fact that in his most recent 10-game stretch, where SGA was out for 5 of those games after All-Star Weekend, J-Dub boosted his efficiency while keeping high production. And to prove he could coexist, in SGA's return, what did he do? He had the hot hand against Utah, dropping dropping 32 points on 12 for 15 shooting and 5 assists in a dominant win over Utah. Now, as much as I hate to say it, because I'm one of those guys that don't really think the Thunder GM is all that great, strictly because he let Harden walk, he lost KD, and he did pretty much end up losing Russell Westbrook, but he got from under that Westbrook contract, so it could go either way. But regardless, I try not to give Sam Presti too much credit. However, you got to give credit where credit's due, and in this case, Sam Presti has hit these last couple draft classes. There might be another conversation for the fact that he just had a haul of picks for Paul George, so it's kind of hard to miss when you have that many picks at your disposal, but regardless, he did not miss, and that's the point I'm making. He's picked a few talents over the years that they've had clear question marks. Guys like Harden and Russ, they weren't surefire superstars coming into the league. They weren't guys that we saw in the pre-draft process in college ball. These two weren't guys that we thought were going to be what they are today. Obviously, Russell Westbrook has fallen off a little bit, but we know what Russ can do at his best. Now, other than the factor of drafting players, he's also had pretty good transactions over the years. The historical inception of getting SGA, it starts with Domantas Sabonis. He drafted Domantas Sabonis, and when he drafted Domantas Sabonis, he flipped that into trading him for Paul George. Then he flipped Paul George into SGA by trading him to the Clippers. Now, of course, these are probably instances where players just wanted out. Domantas Sabonis, they wanted PG to come there. PG and Russ project didn't work too well. PG was trying to go to LA, so you flip that. But the point is, the trades that you made for it, they were very good, and they obviously have helped your team. I am one of those that argues that SGA and the OKC Thunder, they won that trade for PG. Even though the Thunder's main guy in terms of rookies got hurt this year, SGA saw an explosion in his game that we all waited for, while the young guys on his squad stepped up massively to keep the Thunder out of the Wemby race. Many of us thought they were going to be very, very thick into the Wembanyama race, but we also kind of forget and neglected the fact that SGA is coming into his own, and we didn't expect these young guys like J-Dub to do what they're doing. They're only a couple wins away from reaching the play-in spot, and J-Dub has been a very, very strong role and contributor to this. He's part of the reason why OKC is not only exceeding expectations, but also might be the rookie of the year this year. Now, ultimately, I think Paolo is probably going to win it because at the start, he was the favorite. But again, like many people tell me, and I agree with, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And if we look at since 2023 has began, J-Dub has been leaps and bounds and by far clear of any other rookie in this class. So he should probably be rookie of the year, if I'm being completely honest. The only way I see Paolo beating him in this rookie of the year race is the fact that the beginning of Paolo's career was literally record breaking. It was the first pretty much debut game we saw that was that big other than LeBron's. Michael Carter-Williams just was up there, but he didn't really sustain it, so that kind of stays under wraps a little bit. But regardless, I do think J-Dub, wholesomely and truthfully, like with no bias or anything, he deserves consideration and probably should be the rookie of the year. Now, regardless of all that, OKC has an amazing talent on their hands that can do it all, and there's plenty of more winning in this young man's future. If you haven't already, y'all should go watch some J-Dub highlights. I already linked them down below. Get hip to who he is before it's too late and we start seeing this guy everywhere and you look like a casual asking, where did this J-Dub guy come from? Because there's always one or two of those guys in any conversation when we're talking basketball, and the newer guys coming into the NBA. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. I just wanted to highlight J-Dub a little bit more. He's been one of my favorite rookies to watch. I've been watching OKC a lot more since OKC and the Lakers have gotten much closer in terms of making the play-in. I've watched OKC a lot more closely. Already knew who J-Dub was, but watching him since 2023 has began, it's been special. That's all I can say. That's all I got for you guys in this one. Let me know what you guys think about J-Dub below. Let me know what you guys think when you watch those highlights. I want you to come back to this video and let me know what you see. Let me know what you think. I think he has potential to be a D-Wade-like kind of guy. Again, he has a 6'5" frame with a 7'2" wingspan. He is already averaging 2 steals a game, and he could be one of the better guard defenders in this league while being a very, very talented scorer. But until next time, it is your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube. And as always, I love you guys, and I'm out. Peace.